What is up, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I'm just an American guy on a journey to discover my English and Irish ancestry. I'm having an awesome day today. I got a lot of yard work done, some errands ran, the sun is shining, it's beautiful, the birds are chirping, it's amazing. I hope you guys are having a really great day as well. Anyway, I was recommended this video in the comments section the other day of another video, and it is an introduction to Parliament. I'd been wanting to check out the way the government ran in the UK, and so this seems like a good video to start with since it was recommended by someone that actually lives over there. So I feel like it should be accurate. They did say that the European Union was mentioned in here at some, I guess this is before Brexit happened. So basically, I guess I can ignore that part. So anyways, if anything else is off or outdated in this video, please share it in the comments section. But yeah, guys, I don't know what the Parliament is other than I know that it's a part of your government. I don't know if that's literally the Parliament is the government itself, like the full government, kind of like Americans would call our government DC. Is that what the Parliament is? Or is the Parliament like a part of the government, kind of like the House of Representatives or the Senate is over here in America? But either way, I guess we'll find out. So anyways, guys, let's check this out. Should be interesting.
Healthcare, education, the environment, international aid, crime. Issues affecting all our lives are shaped and driven by Parliament. But how did it all begin? What does Parliament do all day, and how do you fit in? Parliament has evolved throughout its long history to become what it is today, changing over time to meet the needs of the people. Two key historical events began this process. In 1215, King John
1215?
and agreed to a list of 63 rules set out by a group of barons. This ensured for the first time that no one, not even the king, was above the law.
Yeah.
50 years later, Simon de Montfort, for the first time, invited representatives of the towns and shires to his 1265 Parliament. These events established the foundations for the representative democracy we have today, and from this point onwards, the power to make decisions for the nation passed, over time, from the monarch to Parliament. Okay, so basically what you have is you had the king fully ruling over everybody before this moment. What was it, 1257, I believe they said, was when it started, basically, the 63 rules. And then 50 years later, they had their first parliament meeting, is what I'm gathering. So at that point, it switched from being the king or the queen was fully in charge of everything, made all the rules, I guess. And now the people had more power, because they were able to start electing people and to represent them, I'm guessing. Okay. Let's take a closer look at the UK Parliament today. Parliament is made up of three parts: the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the Monarch.
Heard of those?
The House of Commons is the elected chamber of Parliament. It debates big issues, proposes laws, amends existing ones, and challenges the government's work.
Okay.
There are 650 members of Parliament, or MPs, who each represent a constituency in the UK.
Okay, is it MPs or NPs? What does that mean? And when they say 650 members of Parliament, is that saying 650 members in the House of Commons, or is that the House of Commons and Lords combined? I'm guessing it's the House of Commons, but he said this was 650 members of Parliament, when I know Parliament had the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the Monarch. So I'm just a little confused on that part.
Okay. They belong to either a political party or are independent, and are elected by constituents of the area they want to represent. The leader of the party that has the most MPs elected after a general election becomes the Prime Minister and heads up.
Oh, that's how you get the Prime Minister.
A cabinet made up of 20 senior ministers who coordinate each government department's work.
Okay, so it's sort of that's interesting. Okay.
Parties not in power are called the opposition.
Okay.
MPs from the opposition and government.
So the government
on policy
is the Prime Minister's party.
The Speaker keeps the House in order by chairing these debates. The House of Lords is the second chamber and shares the making and shaping of laws with the House of Commons. It has around 800 members, and it's made up mostly of life peers, and also includes hereditary peers and bishops. Lords are selected for their knowledge and experience, and hold government to account by using their expertise to look at laws and
That's
issues in
interesting.
detail. The monarch's role is mainly ceremonial. They meet the Prime Minister once a week to hear what's going on in Parliament and formally agree every new law. But that's not all. There are also people working behind the scenes. who
MPs,
support
okay,
the work
there
of
it is.
Parliament. Clerks, librarians, researchers, and many more.
Huh. Okay. That's interesting. It's not exactly the same as our House of Representatives and Senate, you know, the House of Commons and the House of Lords, but it kind of gives me that vibe a little bit, but I actually like that system, the way it's set up. That's interesting. Okay. I had no idea. Wow. Okay. Also, the House of Lords, are they not elected, or and if they're not elected, who are they? Who chooses who is in the House of Lords, and do they have a certain term limit? Do they get, like, how often do people get elected into the House of Commons, and how often do the House of Lords? How often do they change? That's what I'm trying to say.
The government has been elected to run the country, and Parliament holds the government to account for us, the public. But how?
Okay.
Prime Minister's questions and ministerial questions give MPs and Lords the opportunity to challenge the government's policies. It's in these debates that they can share the views of their constituents and the public, and how new policies may affect them.
Okay.
Another important way Parliament can scrutinise or look in detail at the work of government is through select committees. Select committees analyse and scrutinise policy. They're made up of either MPs, Lords, or a mixture of both. Together, committee members look at a particular subject and make recommendations on improvements. Witnesses with expertise in the area under scrutiny are called to give evidence, which is used to help shape the committee's inquiry. Members of the public, like you, with a view on the subject can also give evidence for consideration. At the end of an inquiry, a committee writes a report with recommendations that the government usually responds to within 60 days.
All right. I like that.
Both houses in Parliament share responsibility for making and shaping laws. But where do laws come from in the first place? A bill is a proposal for a new law, or to change an existing law, and comes from lots of places, like governing and opposition parties, public inquiries, civil servants, or campaign groups. So how does an idea get turned into a law? Imagine the government wanted to place greater control...
Wait. Hold on. That can't be what it looks like. Or is that, there it is. So basically a group that's not within the government or the parliamentary system can introduce a bill? That's interesting. I mean, I don't know if I'm misinterpreting that, but here in America, like, as a citizen, or even if I had a group, I can't just go introduce a bill. I can go maybe talk to a representative that can then decide if they want to create a bill and introduce a bill on the floor of the House. Am I wrong in the way I'm interpreting what he's saying here? Because it seems like he's just saying that basically people that are outside of the government can actually introduce a bill. Or groups can introduce a bill. That's interesting. I don't know if I'm wrong on that or what, but...
Or, imagine the government wanted to place greater controls over the internet. A proposal called a Green Paper is published, which presents the government's ideas for future policy. This is open for public discussion, with interested groups like internet service providers and others likely to be affected.
That's good.
Once findings are gathered, a white paper is published, which outlines a firmer plan for government policy. Cabinet ministers must agree whether the proposal is taken forward.
Okay.
Once agreed,
Okay.
a bill is drawn up, and the
Oh,
Minister
okay, here he
responsible
goes.
for policy introduces the bill to Parliament for debate. MPs and members of the House of Lords comment on, debate, or amend the bill through several stages. And at the end of the process, apart from very rare circumstances, it must be agreed by both houses.
Good,
It's then
okay.
passed to the monarch, who gives formal approval, or royal assent, and the bill becomes law, called an Act of Parliament.
Okay, so the monarch does, it's not just ceremonial. Technically, the monarch literally puts the stamp of approval on this bill to become law. So if the monarch doesn't approve it, it doesn't become law. So in a way, the monarch is, I was always wondering how that worked when you didn't have a president, like I didn't really understand it, but now it kind of makes sense. So, the monarch is basically the de facto president in a way, because that's kind of like what happens here. Both houses, go back and forth, and both houses have to approve a bill to become law, and then it gets sent to the president. That's kind of, in a nutshell, what happens here, except I like the way that it seems like there's more public discussion. I'm not sure if I misinterpreted that, but it seems like there's actually time for the public to actually have a word on what's going to happen with a bill. If so, that's amazing.
Parliament. In the UK, we live in a democracy, which means power is in the hands of the people through our right to vote. Throughout history, lots of people in the UK have campaigned for the voting rights we have today. There are lots of different types of elections to vote in: general, local, European. Let's take a closer look at how MPs are elected to the House of Commons through the general election. General elections take place in the UK usually once every 5 years, and every seat is up for grabs. On polling day, voters make a choice from a list of candidates.
Okay, so to compare that to the US, so both houses is what it sounds like. I'm not sure if they're just talking about the House of Commons or the House of Lords is also up for election, but it sounds like they are. 5 years. Here, the Senate is up for election every 6 years, and the House is up for election every 2 years. So, and obviously the president is up for election every 4 years. And there's no term limits on the House or the Senate. Of course, there's only two term limit on the presidents. So that's interesting. Everybody can be freshly renewed, so to speak. You should get rid of everybody if you thought that the government was doing a bad job, and you get rid of everybody and start fresh in 5 years. But unfortunately, I'm sure over there you have the same issue we have over here with career politicians, and they're lining their pockets, and yes, it's horrible.
Candidate with the most votes then becomes that constituency's MP. Okay, but how would I know who to vote for? Before elections, candidates need to campaign to get people to vote for them. Campaigning can involve handing out political leaflets, speaking in public debates, talking to people during door-to-door visits, and party political broadcasts. Parties standing for election publish a declaration of their policies during the campaign, called a manifesto. Once elected, an MP represents all their constituents, even the ones that didn't vote or voted for a different candidate. The party with the most MPs elected forms the government, and their leader becomes Prime Minister. And if there's a hung parliament, where there's no clear winner, then a minority government or a coalition government may be created.
Okay, so basically if there is no clear winner, you basically have a bunch of parties come together and kind of merge together some sort of coalition. Okay. I like that. Here we have this two-party system. You have many other little small parties that can't even get a word in. They can never get elected because the powers that be have too much money in that they're not even allowed to come and debate. You have the Republicans and the Democrats are always the only ones that can come and debate the public, and I think that's ridiculous. I like the fact that you guys have the opportunity to hear different parties. That's cool. I also wonder, I don't think he really described this, but here, like, you have districts, and one person will represent a single district. Is that the way it happens there too? Like, person A will represent this area of 20,000 people, and person B will represent another area of 20,000 people. That's how it is in the House, but the Senate has 2 people. It sounds like it's somewhat different over in the UK.
A fresh election held. One way to have a say in how the country is run is to use your vote. You have to be 18 or over to vote in general elections, but you can register from the age of 16. There are lots of other ways to get involved and have your voice heard, whatever your age. Remember, MPs represent all of their constituents. But how? You can visit an MP in their local constituency office, or you can even travel to the Houses of Parliament to lobby them in Central Lobby. Lords have knowledge and experience in specific subject areas. You can look them up by policy interest on the Parliament website.
Oh, okay.
Anyone can contact any Lord or their local MP by letter, phone or email to discuss an issue that's important to them or their community. Sometimes though, there's strength in numbers, so to get your voice heard, you could join the youth section of a party, or the UK Youth Parliament. If you're passionate about an issue, you could start a petition for a cause either on paper or online, or join an existing campaign, pressure or protest group to influence decision making. These groups use different methods to get their voices heard, from lobbying to peaceful protest, all designed to bring about change. And don't forget, you can get your voice heard in school or college too by joining or starting a student council, a bit like a mini parliament. So, Parliament sits at the heart of UK democracy, debating the big issues of the day, making and shaping laws, and holding the government to account. By voting, petitioning, campaigning and more, you can also get involved with the work of Parliament. What will you do?
Yeah, I really liked that video, guys. I thought it did a really good job explaining what the Parliament system was. You know, it was kind of an introduction. I'm sure it goes much deeper than that. I definitely still have some questions, but, you know, I think I'll just leave that for another video to check out the Parliament system in a deeper way. I definitely understand now that America and the UK kind of have similar systems, but different as well. You know, we both have to have both houses, the Senate and the House here, and the House of Commons and the House of Lords there, to agree on a bill in order to send it off to the monarch to be approved, or to the president here to be approved. So it's kind of the same thing, but there's different nuances and different things they have to do in those two different systems. I like the fact that it seems like in the UK there seems to be a little bit easier ability for UK citizens to petition their government than it does in the US. And I also like the fact that you have multiple parties all the time. Multiple parties are kind of within the government. Unfortunately, in the US, we're stuck with this two-party system because big money and the two parties themselves have made it almost impossible for a third party to get elected at all. And it's really sad and it's disgusting because it keeps our country from being able to move forward in so many ways. And I'm so ready for a third party to be able to come in and help speak for the people, because our Democrat and our Republican representatives as a whole are politicians that have decided to line their pockets and be in there for a lifetime. And I'm sure you get some of that in your system, but hopefully you get much less. And I think because you have multiple parties, you probably do get much less of that. And so overall, I think you get a more representative government for what the people themselves want as a whole, which is amazing and awesome. So anyways, guys, I think this did a good job. Yeah. And I look forward to looking at more videos about the government. And because I don't, this was a beginner lesson basically. But it's got me to the point that I'll kind of understand more going into the next video that I do on the parliamentary system or the government in general, and the monarchy probably, that I'll kind of be a step ahead when I learn more about this stuff. So anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please hit that like button. Feel free to leave your comments if you have something to add to this video. And to join me on my journey, please click that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, peace.